Hi everyone, it's Andy here from CCUK Resin. And in this video, we are going to do some art, but I mainly want to talk to you a little bit about resin safety and about this air purifier from Resiners. So I've been using this for, nearly a year now, and it is an amazing piece of kit. It is so sensitive as well that I could go outside for a cigarette and this is what happens. It goes red. But it's got an inbuilt monitor which monitors the air all of the time. I leave this on 24/7, so whatever happens, I know that there's something cleaning the air around me. And again, with my resin art, it wouldn't be possible without this machine, because when I first started, I was doing it outdoors in a little outbuilding because I was worried about those fumes in the air. And in the UK, it gets wet, it gets cold, and it would have been impossible for me to continue doing my videos past the summer months. But this has made it possible. So now I do all of my resin work inside my living room. This is my workstation, ignore the mess. But it's only possible because of this piece of kit. And it is so sensitive that I can go outside for a cigarette, come in, and it goes bright red. So I know that it's picking up the fumes in the air. Now, more importantly, it's picking up the fumes in the resin. And no matter what resin you use, you don't know to a certain extent, you don't know what's in it. You don't know what fumes it could let off. And for me, resin should be a safe art. So always wear your gloves. Always wear a respirator as well. This is meant to be in addition to a respirator. But I thought it'd be fun for this project to do some blooms at the side and see how it reacts throughout the process. And the reason there's a little bit of VOC in the air is because of the fact, look at this, look at this, look at the strength of that fan. It's blowing that, no problem. Look. And obviously what it's doing is with that filter, which is a specialized HEPA 3 filter, I think it is, or HEPA 4, I'll have to check that out. But it takes the bigger dust particles out of the air as well as the fumes. But look at this. So it's a pretty strong fan. And as I say, that's what it's all about for me. It's about that extraction. It's about cleaning the air in the space that you're working in so that you know you can breathe safely. It's got an auto feature as well. So if I put that on, it automatically detects the air and switches it on. Now I have just been naughty and been outside for a cigarette just to get some VOCs in the air for the purpose of this video. But it's dead straightforward. It's one of the most essential pieces of equipment you can have in your workshop. So I'm going to switch it back on. And again, the filters on them last a long time. So this filter I haven't changed yet, and I have got two others just for when they do run out. But it's got this cool little monitor here which tells me it will go red when it needs changing. It's got an auto function as well, which basically just means it automatically runs 24/7, detects the air. It's also got this fan button, which means you can manually adjust. Look at that, and that's virtually silent on that setting. So it's a great little piece of kit. And for me, more to the point, it keeps us safe when we do resin art. So I've mixed up some resin already, and we're just going to go ahead, I think, and start this project. And I'm going to leave this on so that it can detect any additional fumes when I'm mixing pigments or colors or anything like that. And we can... Here we go, guys. I'm gloved up. Beautiful. I've got that pure air on at the side of me, and I'm going to do some blooms. And I've not used this mold before. This mold was from Molds and Shapes, and it's their standard geode mold. And I've just mixed up 400 ml of standard high gloss resin from Apex. Dead straightforward. And I've put it through the debubbler. And we're currently at 31 degrees. Now, again, normally I would pour my blooms at around about 36. So we've got a couple of minutes. And I just think I'm going to be using some different colors in these blooms to see what happens, which I've not done before. But again, check out this air purifier from Resiners. It's not the cheapest on the market, but you pay for what you get, and it's purposely made for resin art. And therefore, I know it's great. I know it takes those VOCs out of the air, and I can do my resin art safely in my living room. And don't forget, if you've got pets and animals, you've got to think about them as well and what fumes are in the air whilst you're doing your resin art. And again, with something like blooms, people may put the respirators on when they're actually doing the project, but how many of us would put a respirator back on for 20 hours whilst that cures if you're doing it indoors? Not many. And that's the important thing for me, is it gives me that peace of mind that something is working in the background, cleaning the air as I go. So there we go. So this resin, let me just check it again now because it's quite a deep pot. So we're already up to 32.5. I'm going to go for it because this is going to be quite a detailed technique. So first thing I want to do is get my colors mixed. So I'm going to pour a decent amount in each one of these pots. And I don't expect at the minute anything to happen with that air purifier, simply because the resin I'm using doesn't have many VOCs. And that's one of the reasons I use the Apex resin, is for me, it's a safer one to use. So that's going to be enough for my colors. And I'm going to have some spare in this project. I think I've mixed far too much, guys. But I've got a drip mold at the side of me, what I'm going to be using as well. So let's mix up those colors now. And see if it triggers or does anything. I don't think it will, because again, the colors I'm using, they're not the most sensitive. But we'll find out together. So I just want to get a wipe out, ready to wipe my stick. And hopefully this is going to be a fun project as well. So we're going to get hopefully some beautiful blooms at the end of it. But as I say, it is all about that air purifier for me. And it allows me to do my resin art with peace of mind, which for me is very important, and it means I can do it safely. And again, there has been times, I'll be honest, where I've not used my respirator because it's just a quick project or putting it back on some blooms or something like that. And I know I should, but again, sometimes I just don't. So let's use this hummingbird first, which is a beautiful color. And I've not tried a bloom in these yet. So that's what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to mix, dip my stick in there, swirl it round. Whatever's left on my stick is going to be enough to hopefully color this resin. But as I say, this is just, for me, it's a fun video, but it's also got a serious element, because for those of you that don't know, resin, over a period of time, it will build up in your system. And if you're breathing it in, you could get an allergic reaction to it. I've known artists where they've had no problems for sort of 2-3 years, and then all of a sudden, they've had a really bad reaction to resin, and it's because of the fumes that they've probably been breathing in, you know, and I think anything you can do to minimize that risk is a good thing. And for me, for the cost of, what, a few litres of resin, I would rather have that peace of mind knowing that my air is clear every time I do my resin. And don't get me wrong, I have it on all the time. So there's been times, this is the next colour, where I've had friends around, and let's say they've had a bit of a gas problem. And even that has triggered it off. So it is very, very sensitive. And obviously that won't be VOCs, but it's something it detects in the air that shouldn't be there, and it helps get rid of it, you know? So this is that beautiful purple. And again, just mixing these round so I know the colors are mixed. And then we're gonna go ahead and hopefully get some beautiful blooms as part of this video. But as I say, get over to resiners.com, check them out, use my discount code CCUK as well if you want some money off. And I think they're going to be doing a sale as well. So I don't think you'll be able to use the discount code as well as the sale. So work out which one's best for you. Now, instead of a white for these blooms, I'm going to go with this pale yellow, which I've never worked with before. And again, I don't want too much on there, because it will make it heavy. And then I'm just going to mix this around. And this is almost instead of the white. We're going to use this pale yellow and see what happens. Beautiful color again. And don't forget, if you're liking any of the content on the channel, do me a favor, like and subscribe. It is completely free of charge, and it allows me to keep going, you know, with more videos like this, more product testing as well, to help advise us on what we should and hopefully what we shouldn't be doing as well. So always wipe your stick in between. And I love these little silicone sticks, they're great. So that is that. I'm just going to check the temperature of the resin again. Now we're at 35 degrees, so it's perfect temperature because I always normally pour at about 36. So I just want a thin layer in each one of these coasters. That's the first time I've used this mold as well. So it's going to be an interesting pour, hopefully. But I just want enough to make sure that that surface is covered. And you tend to find with blooms, the thinner the surface that you're working with resin-wise, the more you get a bloom. So again, don't worry about them being completely full. And again, I'm going to be adding more to these as we go through the project. So I'm not worried as long as there's that thin layer, and I can always add a back to them as well. Don't forget about that. So there we go. Happy with that. And I've got some spare. I'm just checking. These are about halfway full now. So what I'm going to do is, with these colours, I'm going to put them in a piping bag. So there's the yellow. Just so that most of it goes in. There's the purple. And again, I'm going to try a slightly different technique here, which I've not tried before, which is, I call it haphazard craziness with these blooms. I'm just looking at the minute, and the VOCs haven't really gone up yet, which is great. So, but I am going to leave it running, and we're going to see, you know. So let's get the lids on these pigments. And then the plan is, hopefully I can fit my drip mold at the side, and you'll see what I do with that as well. Because there is going to be some spare resin. So for the drip mold this time, I've got this little trinket bowl mold, which I haven't used before. And I thought this might just fit on the side whilst I'm doing the rest of this project. But what I'm going to do is just tip these up, upside down, so we're not wasting any of those beautiful colours that are in there. He says, if he can get it on. And hopefully this will just pour that beautiful resin that's been left in those cups. Now I'm going to get these ready. And all you do in a piping bag is squeeze it down. Make sure you don't squeeze it out of the back. And give it a twist. So there's the first one. Simple as that. And I think we're going to get some beautiful blooms here. Really hoping anyway. And I'm going to go a little bit crazy because these two, this purple and this kingfisher, are semi-transparent, so they're not fully opaque colours. So I think it'll give me a little bit more leeway as to what I can do with these blooms. And then I'm going to do the standard spiral technique after, with this beautiful yellow, this pale lemon, I think this one's called. And then we're going to see what happens. It's as straightforward as that. And with your blooms, it's all about temperature. And remember, they won't all work out, but if you get your temperature right, 90% of the time, you're going to be okay. I'm just looking at the VOCs. At the minute, we're good. It hasn't really changed by mixing those colours. So all I'm going to do before I start to pour these is look for any tiny bubbles. And it's the first time I've used the mould, so there's probably going to be bubbles. So I'm just going to go around the edge of each and dislodge any that might be in that right angle of the mould. And if I can see any on the surface, or the front as it were, I'm just going to lift them to the surface. But I have got to get a shifty on now because we're at that temperature. And in order to get your bloom, you want it at the right temperature. So here we go. I'm happy with that. Again, wipe your stick in between every time. And I can just move these out of the way now. Most of that colour that was in there has come out into there, so I'm not wasting it. Now I am going to pour the rest of this clear in here, like so. And so this is just spare resin at the side. And then what I'm going to do is just make sure it's all out. And let's say this is just, I suppose, a bit of fun at the side to use up any spare resin. And I know I'm going to have lots of these colours left in a second, but I just wanted to see what would happen if I did it this way. So there we go, move those to the side, and I have got to hurry up now. Again, scrape these out. make sure that all of that colour is hopefully in there and none of it's wasted. Especially that purple, because I love it. Okay, so that is that done with. I can move that to the side and focus on my blooms. And I say I'm going to try something slightly crazy, slightly different with these. I'm just checking the VOCs, we're still good, so we're okay. But as I say, this video, it's mainly about that, but it's also about me just having a bit of fun. So I'm going to start with this hummingbird, and I want to make a very small cut this time, because so I'm going to try a slightly different technique. Helps if you've got sharp scissors for this, guys. But there we go, it's leaking out. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is just literally random swirls of this hummingbird all the way around each one of these, and same with this one. And I don't want too much in there, but I do want enough, so we'll hopefully see it in the end piece. And again, same for this one. I don't know if this is going to work. It's the first time I've tried this. I just thought, wouldn't it be fun? And I'm just, as you can see, randomly going around the resin, making sure that each one of these has some of that beautiful hummingbird in hopefully what is going to be a bloom. And it's not sinking, so that is a good start. So there we go. The rest of that can pretty much go in here. And again, I mixed up 400 ml of resin, which I think is probably too much. So now we're going to do exactly the same with that purple. I'm going to get some sharper scissors this time and see if I can actually cut. Yep, that's working. So again, do exactly the same. In fact, I might go a bit of a spirally technique with the purple. And just going around the whole thing, all the way up to that edge. I'm not worried about it overlapping because I'm not putting it in heavy. Same with this one. And these are all going to look very different. But that's what I love about blooms. Each one is unique, and you never know what you're going to get. And again, this is very chaotic, very haphazard. I don't know if it's going to work, but we are going to find out. And it almost reminds me of scribbling with a pen, this. So here we go. And obviously I am going to go back over these with that yellow and the spiral technique, but I'm hoping by doing these first, we're still going to get some of these amazing colours. So the rest of the purple can go in here. I'm going to do it slightly differently. And this is going to be a beautiful drip mould. I can tell that already. And it's almost full, look at this. So it doesn't take a lot of resin. I'm going to get another drip mould actually, at the side of me. In fact, I'm going to pour it into the skull mould at the side. So there's that. Who doesn't like a drip skull? And now the yellow. Now this is going to be interesting because this is the one that needs to be the heaviest, I think, in order to get those bloom petals. So I'm going to snip off the end, hopefully get it, oh, there we go, and we're ready. So again, going to start in the center, and this time try and get that beautiful spiral going around with this yellow. And if you've got your temperature right, you shouldn't have to squeeze at all. The resin should just naturally flow out of your piping bag into your piece. I do want to go all the way up to that edge, hopefully keeping it reasonably even all the way around. There we go. Now this one. And let me know, do you think this is going to work? Again, the purifier is still going in the background, so I know that my air is being clean as I'm doing these. And you'll notice I haven't put anything in the center of these. I didn't want to. And I am going to add a back on these, which is going to be a completely different color. And with your blooms, don't be scared, guys. Just have fun. Experiment, you know? The worst that can happen is it doesn't work. But you might get your best blooms ever just by experimenting, having a little bit of fun, and seeing what happens. And I think we're going to get some beautiful colors. And then this last one, I'm just going to squeeze the rest of it down. And then we're going to go for it straight away. Here we go. And blooms can be very forgiving. As long as you don't go too heavy, you should be okay. And I can see it's starting to flow a little bit different on this last one. I'm not concerned. It should still be beautiful in the end. Okay, and then we're going to leave that for a second. Rest of this, I'm going to put some in here. I'm pretty confident this is full, which is amazing. Okay, and the rest of that, I'm going the skull drip mold just at the side of the screen. Never waste your resin, guys. This is going to be interesting to see how that cures. But let's get on with these blooms. And again, the VOCs, it's not really moved, so it's probably not the best video for showing you how it works. So all I'm going to do with these now is a standard bloom, which you've seen me do countless times on the channel. Just not with this mold, and not with these colors, and not in this technique. And I'm loving these colors. And you're not trying to go all the way down to the base, you're just tickling the surface is all you're doing. And I'm going to give these a tiny swirl. There we go, and I think these are going to be beautiful. And again, just have fun with it, you know? Once the resin's got to temperature, this project's probably taken, what, 15, 20 minutes? And they don't have to be perfect. Every bloom in nature looks different, so can yours. But it's just going to be interesting to see what these actually look like in the end. That was the last one, wasn't it? And let me know in comments if there's any projects you want to see me do that you've not seen me do. Let me know. I'll try and make it happen, because this channel is all about learning together. It's all about growing together and hopefully enjoying the art of resin. So yeah, that, unfortunately, because I'm using products that aren't high in VOCs, hasn't really triggered that, but I'm going to do something in a minute which might trigger it. Just to show you something.
And you have, this is, I suppose, an example where you haven't got to use a white in a bloom. I've gone with yellow this time. And hopefully it's still going to work. We'll find out in 24 hours. And again, some people use fast cure resins. I prefer the bloom technique in a standard resin unless I'm in a rush. There we go. And you can do whatever you want with these. You can pull them back out if you want. In fact, let's pull 2 of them back out. Just to show you that on this bloom video as well. Now, obviously, we're not going to get completely matching coasters now because of the fact I'm pulling these ones out. And let's do the same with this one, I think. And again, all you're doing is pulling from the center out to the edge. Just tickling that surface, and it should give you a very different petal in the end piece. I'm tempted to pull them all out now, but I don't want to. I want to see the 2 different blooms that we get from doing it this way. So that's those. But don't forget, with regards to that air purifier, I know this probably hasn't been the best video for it, but it is all about safety when you're doing your resin work. Just trying to encourage this resin because we put a lot of clear in there, which I think will affect the piece, but we'll see. And then 1 more through there. Pretty happy with that as a design on the back. If nothing else, we will have a pretty design. So I'm going to see you guys at Demold, but don't forget, resin is all about doing your art safely so that you can do it again tomorrow. You know, so get yourself one of these air purifiers. Amazing piece of kit, and you'll be amazed at how many times it just goes off in a standard day. So I'll see you all at Demold in 24 hours. So here we go, guys, and it's been about 4 hours, and I think these are ready for a back now. It should be hopefully cured enough. I'm not going to touch it. So I've just mixed up about another 4 ounces of the clear resin because I'm thinking 1 ounce each should completely fill these. And I'm going to go with this other metallic color from Create and Bloom, which is guppy green. Don't know if it's the right choice or not, but we'll find out. So I'm just going to grab my stick and give it a stir. Whatever's left on the stick can color this resin, hopefully. And I'm going to add something else to this. So I'm just going to mix it around. And you'll see this beautiful metallic green, which is a very different shade to the greens that we've got in there. So it should still stand out as a background. And as I say, it doesn't take a lot. Look at that. Beautiful. But I do want a bit of shimmer. Now I could add glitter, I could do whatever I want. But something I experimented with the other night, which I think came out really cool, was actually adding some flourish paste to the resin, which again, I don't think you're supposed to do. You're meant to use flourish paste afterwards. I'm just going to wipe my stick. Now we've got that guppy green. Always wipe your stick. I'm trying to keep these gloves clean because I've only done it for this part. I want to be able to use them for another experiment if I can. So again, just wiping it off. And then I'm going to show you this flourish paste, which is really cool stuff. And it's meant to be for once your resin's cured, you're meant to be able to pour it over the top, then add a sealant or something to give you a beautiful sparkly finish. And the one I'm going to use is Valley of the Kings, which is gold, because I think gold and greens go really well together. And again, I'm not using a lot here. I think the key is don't use a lot and you'll be okay. So I'm just going to mix that around again. You can see it doesn't look great in the pot, but wait till you see it in the piece. So literally one scoop, whatever's in there, mixing it around, hopefully make sure all the glitter in there is all mixed in as well with the paste. And it is really concentrated stuff, so you don't need a lot. That's now gone in with that guppy green. Then we're going to give it a stir and see if any of that gold starts to shimmer through. I think it will. I think we'll just get a goldy greeny shimmer. Oh wow, I'm loving that. And you can just see tiny flecks of gold there going through that green, which is the look I was going for. So far, so good. I don't know if it's going to work. I think I've mixed up too much resin. So this drip mold skull that I've got at the side is definitely going to get filled. Well, he's getting more and more filled with each project. But depending on how much I've got left, I might see if I've got enough to do a Christmas tree. But here we go. Let's just pour this on. Again, I just want to completely fill these molds now, making sure it goes all the way to the edge. And then we'll see what we get. So I might not have a lot spare actually, because I didn't realise I've only half filled these molds. But again, it creates a beautiful effect just on its own. And if these slightly dome, then they slightly dome. Not concerned in the least about that. But I just want enough to make sure that I've got enough to go around each one of these and completely fill them, hopefully, is the plan. This one could probably take a little bit more. And I think this will just give us a different background, which is quite dark, but it should hopefully elevate the bloom that we've just created with those colours. That's what you always want to do with your back. You want to make your bloom pop. It's not about making the back stand out. It's hopefully about making your bloom stand out. I'm pretty confident that these are now full. Just need a tiny bit of adjustment to make sure it's gone all the way into the edges. And there we go. I didn't get much spare in the end, so I guesstimated about right.
Look. Blowing that air, filtering all of that air whilst it's doing it to try and get us back into the safe zone. So I'm going to leave this running. So it's filtering that air, going around. I'm going to leave it running, and it'll be a couple of minutes to clear this because it was alcohol, and it is the most sensitive to alcohol.
Convincing to go all the way to the edge, because I do want it all the way to the edge so that we can see this beautiful geode edge on the finished product. And again, just being gentle, because I know the resin underneath isn't necessarily, well, it's not fully cured, it's only partially cured, so just tempting it to the edge with the tip of this silicone tool. And I think we should be about there. And again, just trying to make sure it's completely full. That one definitely is. This one could do with a bit of persuasion here. As I say, the more time you take with your pieces, the better they are. You know, and sometimes it just takes something like this just to give it a little bit of gentle persuasion all the way to the edge, so you make sure you get that full geode when we demold. That'll make the difference between it being one of your best pieces and just being an okay piece. So all I'm doing is just going around, making sure that the resin is all the way to that edge, and hopefully we'll get that beautiful geode pattern. Because what's the point in having an expensive geode edged mold unless you get that full geode edge? There we go, pretty happy. And then we're just going to leave these, unfortunately, for 24 hours. to cure because I use the standard cure resin. The top layer will actually slightly cure a bit quicker because of the fact the bottom layer is already partially cured. It's going to be letting off heat, which will make the top layer just cure that little tiny bit quicker. So I'm confident that we'll be able to demold these tomorrow and see what we've got. But don't forget, get yourself one of these purairs. Make sure you're working in clean air when you're working with your resin. Make sure you're not breathing it into your lungs. And I think it is such a great tool to have. And it's probably, for me, the most valuable tool in my resin workspace. There we go. So that is that done. I'm going to leave those to cure. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So here we go, guys. It's the next day and I'm excited to demold these. Let's start off with this extra piece that we did, which looks really cool before I demold. Let's hope it's cool when we do demold. It's the first time I've used this mould, and I'm hoping there's going to be some transparency still in it, hopefully. And then we're going to do these coasters, but don't forget, check out resiners.com if you want one of those purairs, because that's what this is all about. It's all about resin safety, and it basically allows me to still do, wow, hello, look at that. Just a nice little trinket bowl. I love the way it's gone around the sides and those beautiful colors in there, and it's kept the base like that. Really happy with that for a little trinket dish. Let me know what you think. So that's that one. And let's demold these coasters as part of this. And as I say, I think when you've got one less worry, which is the air that you're breathing, just makes it a lot easier to be creative as well. So, right. So these have been topped and backed. Let's hope they've turned out beautiful. That's the first time I've used this mold as well. So it's going to be an interesting one. I just hope those blooms have turned out. There we go. And don't forget, if you're liking my content, if you like any of my videos, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It's completely free, but it helps support the channel so much. And if you want to support us even more, then consider joining membership. It's free of charge and it gives you early access to every video that we post. Normally we're about a month ahead, so that's about 6 to 8 videos ahead. So let's have a look at these and see if they've worked. Look in the back. Oh wow, hello. Now they are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful bloom, that is. This one as well. You can definitely see those different colours in there. So I think you could say this chaos technique really worked for me. I really like it. I remembered actually, we pulled this one out, didn't we? And I actually think I prefer that. But again, that one's beautiful. There's different colours. And I think this was the other one that we pulled them out with. And I actually think I prefer it with the ones that we pulled all the way out. What do you think? Let me know in comments. But just to close this one out, get yourself over to Resiners if you want to feel safer when you're doing your resin with that air purifier. Purifies the air so that you can breathe fresh air, hopefully. And it isn't to say that you shouldn't be wearing a respirator. You should still wear one of those. But this will take all those fumes out afterwards as well. So then it's safe to take off your respirator whilst you're waiting for perhaps something to cure, something like that, once you've finished your project. But it's a great product. I couldn't do my resin work without it. And I highly recommend it. So don't forget, get over resiners.com, use that discount code CCUK to get yourself some money off, and let me know what you think. And let me know what you think to these blooms. I think they've turned out gorgeous. Look at them. Beautiful.